Welcome back. Why am I saying welcome back? Welcome to Washington East to West Sports, Episode 4. That was a terrible intro. I am Matt Beatty, joined
You s-
alongside by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall after a.
you started like the Seahawks.
I know, I started like the
Yep.
Seahawks, but
Yeah.
much like the Seahawks, I'm going to end on a very, very strong play and win the game. So, just to tease, I mean, if you didn't see that game, 35-30, what a really good game to watch, and we're going to break it all down in just a little bit. Guys, how nervous were you on that final play? I just want an initial reaction on that final play. How nervous were you, Sean?
I was super nervous. We'll get into why they screwed it up, but yeah, the Patriots screwed it up. But I was super, super nervous. I'd put a lot of money that they scored.
We'll debate that topic, but Kevin, were you pretty nervous that final play?
Oh yeah, I told my wife to get out.
Wow! Wow!
It didn't go over well later.
Kevin gets a divorce over the Patriots game.
No, she wanted something right, literally right as Cam's going up to the
line
line.
scrimmage. Oh
She's
my
just
gosh.
standing behind my computer one. And
Get
no. I was like, no.
I'm just gonna let you know. During the game, I had my weekly Dungeons and Dragons session, so I'm on mute and they can't hear me. So I'm just in my room, just standing up, pacing around, and they have no idea what I'm doing. So and then as soon as they made the stop, there were noises. But anyway, so let's move on to let's talk about the Mariners. Sean, give us a little bit of an update on how the Mariners are doing, and their playoff hopes are very slim at this point, if almost non-existent, I would say. But
They're technically there.
okay, so give us a little bit of an update
Oh,
here.
no,
How are the Mariners doing?
So they suck again, but it's okay. So I saw a stat where basically they're only really good against the Rangers, and the Rangers are basically keeping their record above water. But they played the Padres, who are good. So they're falling back down to earth, where they're supposed to be. But that's not all bad. I mean, Justice Sheffield's pitched very well. Marco's still doing his thing. He's pitching right now, so I haven't updated in a bit. But Kyle Lewis is basically, with the help of Lewis Roberts falling off a complete cliff, basically locked up Rookie of the Year this week. So that's also nice too. Dylan Moore and Ty France. Ty France is a stud. We got that guy for almost nothing, and that dude is just super consistent, always getting on base. I really like him. He could play second base. We need a second baseman. I wouldn't say he's great at it, but he is a body, and he can stand there. So, and his bat's very good. I think we got two guys who, if Dylan Moore pans out, is very can lengthen this lineup and be good 7 and 8 hitters for this team. Because once all the kids come up, they're going to be really the top of the guys and going to be making it. But how you compete and create a true World Series contender, like the Howie Kendricks, like your 9 hitter, your 8 hitter, is having those guys that can contribute at the bottom. And Moore and France I'm not saying they're going to Mariners are going to the World Series, but those are guys that can lengthen your lineup and do things at the bottom. When in the past, you're getting an automatic out, Sean Figgins, things like that. I really like what I see with those two.
Kevin, what are you seeing with the Mariners as their season slowly winds down? What do they got? 10 games left?
Oh, no, I think they have 6.
Oh, 6 games left. Okay. So really winding down here. And what have you been seeing out of them, Kevin?
Well, Sean kind of pretty much mentioned most of it. We kicked butt against Texas. We do okay against the Padres, and everybody else we just kind of. I don't know what the score is right now.
6-0 for the Mariners.
Oh, we're playing. And how far back are we from Houston?
4 games.
We're
back
4
from
games back from Houston,
So
and I think the wild card is 5 games from the wild card.
if we sweep Houston,
if we pull the miracle and put all the planets aligned with 5 blue moons out, and we sweep Houston, and then just roll for those last 3 games, we have a chance. I'm saying there's a chance.
And we have to leapfrog the Angels as well.
Oh, that's true.
Ty France is killing it right now in this game. I honestly didn't even know that when I said it, but there you go.
Yep.
And Kyle Lewis got on base.
Good. That helps my fantasy.
Walks. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. On base percentage.
Evan White hit a dinger. That guy's coming around.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of from what we said from the last pod. It's about the same thing. I'm still happy overall with the season. I thought they did well. They didn't completely stink the bed, but they weren't like world breakers either. So like we got to see the young kids play a little bit. We're going to be super excited for next season. Hopefully we get a full season next season if things continue to go well. Hopefully. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty much everybody's kind of ready for football.
I think that, and especially in the Northwest, I think with how the Seahawks have played the first two games, I think everybody's ready for football. We'll touch on the Mariners probably one last time next week to kind of wrap everything up, and then we'll probably be fully into football mode. But let's go fully into football mode right now and talk about the Seahawks and the Patriots. Yesterday, 35-30 win on the final play. Let's get some initial thoughts on the game. First, I want to say that Cam, he looks good. It looks good, and I feel like a lot of teams are maybe a little disappointed they didn't take a chance on him. I mean, he doesn't necessarily look like young Cam Newton, but, man, can he run the ball still? And it seems like Bill Belichick is really leaning into that, and the Seahawks really couldn't stop him that much except for one time when they really needed to. And then the Seahawks offense, once again, I mean, Russ was just kind of spreading it around, and man, that offense looks good. But, the defense, it needs some work. That Quandre Diggs hit, I thought it wasn't intentional. I understand the ejection. I'm sure you guys will probably get into that a little bit as well. But, Sean, what are your initial thoughts on the game?
Well, they let Russ cook again. He's absolutely amazing. And the way that people are talking about him, he's finally in the conversation for MVP like he should be. The defense was poo-poo, but that's kind of what we saw week one. And when you lose Blair and Diggs right off the bat, it was probably going to be poo-poo. And then you lose Bruce Irvin, too, in the middle of the game. Throwing three backups in there is going to be rough. And what I said before, Cam Newton is still Cam Newton. He can run the ball. It's going to be very hard to stop him. That O-line's very good, and that's kind of what happened. Although they did throw a little better than I thought. Yeah, that's basically it. Defense was poo-poo. Offense was great.
Kevin, give me some thoughts on the game.
So as I kind of mentioned last week, you want to, with Russ cooking, it makes their team one-dimensional, and I thought that would kind of wrap it up. But they kind of proved to me otherwise. But we're going to also go into detail that with Cam did look better. His throws looked a little bit sharper, but at the same time, Cam had all day. So, and we'll go into why with the defensive woes here in a little bit. So I think he's not going to face absolute trash D lines like the Seahawks have every game, especially when he goes up against Buffalo. That's gonna be the real test to watch is when Buffalo's after him. So it'll be interesting. I think he's still a good, solid player though. And the threat of him running is always a question mark. And as they mentioned during the broadcast, how much will they use it in the future? Who knows? Russell just. Honestly, I wanted to propose to him last night. I wanted to propose to that man. I'm finally happy. And I'm not going to go and say to other media have saying that we need to extend Pete Carroll. I think that's a little too soon on that because he also showed some tendencies because there were two drives that were completely pointless, and we'll go into those a little bit later, to where we could have it probably would have been so cringeworthy at the end. But overall, there's some key players that we'll kind of get into that definitely shine during this week. So.
All right, well, let's just jump into what was obviously the biggest play of the game was the play at the end there. So I'm going to share this screen here, and I'm going to full screen it and get rid of this on the side here. So guys, tell me what you see here. I mean, looking at this formation, once we saw it in the game, we knew kind of what was coming. I mean, you see the backs on the backfield, and then eventually once Cam starts, talking to his team, they move him out. And then the formation kind of comes exactly to where it was in the previous drive. They ran this exact same play on the goal line. Now, I've kind of watched some national media today, and I've seen a lot of different things about how, they should have thrown it, maybe done a little trickery. And I honestly think they were going to do a little trickery. I mean, you see Jamal Adams up top here. He's clearly going to cover this tight end unless it's a run. Then he's going to try and come around the edge. And then these guys on the bottom clearly know what's coming. Like, they are ready to jump down in the trenches and just kind of get down and make sure that line collapses so the linebackers can come in. Sean, what do you not like about this play?
I don't like the fact that what I think Cam does best, and we did when he won his MVP. He basically won MVP by just doing 1 yard, 2 yard touchdown runs. Was you spread it out. The Patriots basically said we're going to run it with Cam and put everybody in the box, and everybody you basically did what the Seahawks wanted, put everybody in one spot. If you put 2 receivers or 3 receivers out, you're taking safeties and corners away, and they have to play out there. And then you run read option, and then Cam's going to walk in the end zone. You basically just allowed the Seahawks to put all their defenders in one spot.
I mean, see, when I see
everyone
this,
knew it was going to be a run.
I think he's going to come here, block this guy, and Cam's going to come on the outside. I didn't think they would run it right at the teeth of the defense. Like, why? Why did they run it at the teeth of the defense?
Just spread out, run RPO, Cam walks in the end zone. Like, that's just 101. He won MVP doing it. He was, I saw a stat, he's 80% in his career from running on 1 or 2 to go, where he has to go. And when they run read option, he's 100%. So I get that Bill Belichick is using Cam the way that he was used in other situations and things like that, but truly use him that way. I get that this was your best play, but they didn't, like, running Cam is your best play, but this formation is not Cam's best play.
Kevin,
it's still very good. It's still 80%, but
yeah.
It's not the best play.
Kevin, tell me what you think about this play. I mean, I'm going to let it play a little bit. I mean, I'm not like we said, we're not surprised by the play call. I guess it's just the mainly the execution. I mean, Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I just kind of agree with Sean here. The 3 big players that came up on this were Delano Hill, LJ Collier, and Bobby. Just kind of like losing the gap, so to speak. At this point here, when he is seeing his, like, I'm kind of trying to, sorry.
Like, there's a hole, like, right here,
down
but
below.
it's not there very long.
Yes, well.
But it's blown up. It's not going to be there.
The fact that he already sees that this is blown up, he should try to go on the outskirts to the edge. But I agree, the whole setup is flawed. Like, you want to have, like, literally the box is so stacked that it just makes it so much harder for Cam to get in. You need to spread things out. Yeah. And if you're going to do a power run, have 2 tight ends on the side that can also threaten to go out, but then use them in a power run scheme. It was just Josh McDaniels running to the same well over again, and it just wasn't executed properly. But at that point, too, if I'm Cam Newton, and Cam Newton's literally looking where he's going, you're seeing that, you know, you're I think that's the fullback.
That's the fullback,
is getting pretty much tackled down right there. Why? I don't know why you don't go to the outside, because whoever's tackling the fullback is in no position to get you. And number 89 has what's his face locked up down there. So it's like right there. I would go straight to the outside toward the pylon, right then and there. Like, but he just tries to continue to the formation because he thinks he has that gap. But then LJ Collier blocks it off, and Bobby comes from behind, with Delano Hill crushing the left side of it, and then he's trapped in.
It's hard in a split second, too, because he's got a guy chasing him. But I think Collier, he might have tried, but Hill doesn't actually go all the way down, as you can see. And I think him not actually being forced to the ground initially is what stopped Cam from doing that. He was like, oh, crap, and then Collier comes up the gap where he was going to cut it. It's Hill and Collier actually made a play, which for both of them is very nice to see. So, but yeah, like they basically running into a stacked box is a bad idea, and the Patriots made a stacked box.
And then on 69 right there, the reason why
looks like he's tripping on him right here.
Is Bobby. I'm pretty sure that is Bobby. And so Bobby kind of blocks.
Is this Cody Barton down here? Yeah, is that Cody Barton?
I believe so.
Sorry, guys, we haven't the film just came up, and we haven't had a chance to really go into it. But
so Bobby pushing 69 there kind of blocks his option of doing like a bootleg out the other way, kind of like what Russell does, because Bobby's just gonna go right after him. So that just kind of locks him in, so to speak.
Oh, my circles don't even make sense now. This is not good. Okay,
but,
there we go.
But it's a really good heads-up play by Collier, just blowing that thing up, and then Hill and Bobby just squeezing the sides.
Yeah, it's Cody Barton down here.
I feel like at this point right here is when Bobby is letting them know that it is the exact same play. And we can't hear him on the field, and we can kind of hear him a little bit better now that there aren't any fans. But I feel like at this point, they all know what's coming, and then just start
I
slowly
tweeted out before
cascading
this
towards
play
the
that
line.
everyone knew it was coming. You're gonna run it with Cam. They did it all. The thing with is the Patriots are on a very limited playbook with Cam. They already kind of showed that last week because Cam again didn't sign right away, so he didn't have a lot of time to figure this out. So they tried to incorporate as much as he used to know as possible. So in this goal line situation, they were going to run what he was comfortable with, read option or power running game. And so when it got to the goal line, every single time he basically walked in the end zone. This is the third time they've seen it. They knew it was coming. I'm super glad they stopped it. Hill deserves a ton of credit because him blowing up this fullback is a big deal.
Mhm.
Like and then Collier got away, but Hill blowing up that fullback is a big deal.
So you mentioned, is that why you don't like the play call? Is that why you?
Yeah, it's basic 101 what we understand now. Running backs are very inefficient when you run into a stacked box. That's what the Chiefs are doing, and when they stack the box, you pass. When they don't, you run.
Yeah.
The Patriots were like, we're gonna run, but we're gonna allow the Seahawks and basically force the Seahawks to stack the box against us. Spread them out, run read option. I don't see how Cam doesn't walk in the end zone.
It's the reason why Edwards-Helaire had such a good game in the Thursday night game because the threat of they know of the threat of Kelsey and Hill and the rest of and Watkins and all of that. So they literally the box is just empty for him.
They showed it. It was like 60% six stacks, and then the Kansas City's like fine, and they just ran to like 8 yards a clip. Yeah, like it's.
I mean, there is a hole. It's not there for long enough. That's it.
Yeah. Collier makes a play.
They never are, but that's the
and
problem
you are right.
too. Like
This is Bobby right here, Kevin, and then it looks like this is Collier getting through. And then is this Leno?
Yeah, that's Hill. That's Hill. Hill blows up.
Yeah, that's Hill.
Yeah, he blows up the fullback.
Blowing up the fullback.
See, that fullback is supposed to still take Collier when he's there, but Hill blew this up, like just straight up blew it up.
And I'm pretty sure that is Cody Barton on 80.
It is. Yeah, it is.
So, but overall, yeah, it was well executed by Seahawks defense for knowing what was coming, and I literally woke up everybody in my neighborhood just because I was clapping.
I did some quick math, and so Cam had a bunch of rushing, and things like that, but he had this play and 2 other 1-yard runs, so I removed all of those, and he averaged 6 yards a clip on the Seahawks the entire game. So he was killing them. Like Cam was free running everywhere. So I mean, I did not expect it. Let's be honest, as you saw, like I said, other than removing all the 1-yard touchdown runs because that affects your your yards per carry because you're only running for 1 yard. Yeah, he basically averages 5.6 yards clip. So they did pretty much what they wanted to at least with him on the running game. They stopped the other people, which was very impressive to see. But they only ran like 11 times.
Yeah, I don't think it's that impressive. I mean, looking at the stats right here, Sonny Michel, 7 carries, 19 yards. Rex Burkhead, 6 carries, 2 yards. Like that's
Burkhead's not a running back.
That's nothing. I mean, Cam was the offense here. He had 11 carries, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns, then 397 through the air. So it was the Cam Newton show, and
the 400 yards of passing for Cam Newton on a limited playbook is the problem with this defense.
Well, we must also say that James White was out, and thoughts go out to his family because of the situation he's in. That was unfortunate. But, the running game was nowhere to be seen outside of Cam Newton for the Patriots. Chris Carson, 17 carries, 72 yards. I just want to throw some stats out there for people who might not know. 21 of 28 for Russell, 288, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. And that pick was not his fault. That was a Greg Olsen.
It's like 80-20. It wasn't the best ball, but it was not a ball that should have been picked.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a ball that should have been picked. So
it's 80-20 though. Like let's not say it was not a great ball.
My thing was too is like the week before Greg Olsen catches one like in an instant second that's like at his baseline and catches it for a touchdown, and then one that he's prepared for that's just above him, like it goes like through his hands that he's prepared for.
It's a little behind him too, but the issue is I think it had some speed on it, and he didn't get his hands up fast enough.
He made it a bullet, and he just wasn't ready for it.
But I mean, like again, it's Greg Olsen still should catch that ball. Like it's still on Greg Olsen, and he knows it.
And I just want to give out some receiving stats. I mean, Russ was cooking and spreading it out. DK, 4 for 92 and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett, 7 for 67 and a touchdown. David Moore, 3 for 48. And that very nice toe tap on the sidelines there. That was very nice. Chris Carson, 3 catches, 36 yards, and that put away touchdown. Well, supposedly put away touchdown. And Freddie Swain had 1 catch for 21 yards and a touchdown. So the rookie getting in there and, 1 catch for a touchdown, it's a pretty good day for a rookie, I'd say. So overall, the offense, looked good. And then the defense, I mean, Julian Edelman, 8 catches, 179 yards. Like, that is an insane stat. And if you play fantasy football, Damiere Byrd is probably on your waiver wire, and you're going to want to pick him up. 6 catches, 72 yards. So overall, a very good game for both offenses. Both defenses need a little bit of work. But I want to talk about DK Metcalf here for a second, because a lot of national media that I was listening to today were talking about how DK is kind of burst on the scene because he took on Stephon Gilmore for most of that game and was able to – I mean, he only had 4 catches, but he had a touchdown, and it was enough to win the game. So do you feel like DK is becoming one of those elite wide receivers that, a cornerback matchup is not really a factor anymore? I mean, Sean, what do you think?
I will say Tyler Lockett's still this team's number 1. Due to efficiency, he's the 4th most efficient wide receiver in the NFL through 2 weeks. DK is the 31st. The issue with DK is he still has some drops. Now, on that deep pass, it was technically underthrown a little bit, and DK made the play for Russell, which was great to see. So, that's a play I don't think he makes a year ago, and a couple of his routes that he made, too, were plays I don't think he makes a year ago. So he's definitely taken a step, but I think people are underestimating he's getting a lot of help because no one can help him because Tyler's over there just killing fools and has been the entire time. Like Tyler Lockett had 77 yards and a touchdown. No one's even talking about him. He had 6 catches, 7 catches, 80 yards and a touchdown, and no one's just even saying a word about him.
7 for 67 and a touchdown.
Yeah, he's not 6'2" and 230, but he gets a lot of help in this offense because Tyler's over there, but he has taken a ton of strides in this offseason, I think. And at second half of last year and then now this year, he's blown up. But I think they might have been better served to put Gilmore on Tyler this game. I think that would have been their bigger issue because Tyler was catching first downs left and right all game.
Kevin, what are your thoughts on DK? Hold on, I'm gonna share my screen.
DK's amazing. Sorry, just I don't want to think like I'm bashing DK. He's very good. I'm glad he has him, but everyone's just overreacting to DK. Because he is very good, but everyone just sleeps on Tyler Lockett, so I'm on the Tyler Lockett bandwagon. We need to talk about Tyler more. National media needs to talk about Tyler more.
Is this the touchdown play?
This is the touchdown play.
Okay, I want you to pause it right before it gets to his hands.
Okay. So we got the motion here.
And this is what I'm going to talk about with him being very impressive that I noticed. Okay, he keeps going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Slow it down.
Keep it going. Okay, right about here.
Yeah.
Keep it going. More? Keep it going. Yeah, keep it going a little bit more.
This is great podcast, guys.
Okay, right now, stop it. Okay, so as you guys saw right there, one thing, him fighting with him the whole night, that was really good to see, and he was pretty much winning most of those battles. What was very impressive is that on the way in, most rookie receivers are going to put their hands up way too early, and that's going to indicate to Stephon Gilmore, who has no idea where that fucking ball's at, that it's on its way, and he'll probably put his hands up to possibly block it. But DK doesn't put his hands up to catch it until the last second, to where Stephon Gilmore just has no chance in heck, and also uses his body to just to make that play because it was underthrown.
He just outmuscled him, straight up.
Yep. And then literally it was Stephon Gilmore trying to carry 230 pounds of muscle, and you can't do that. Maybe like a player like Brandon Browner, but Brandon Browner's not catching up with that man's speed. You need a big corner to hold on to that, and Stephon Gilmore is just not that. So he just outmuscled him, and it was just a very, very heads-up play to see that that DK knew not to put his hands up early enough to where Stephon Gilmore gets the indication that the ball is coming there to put his hands up to try to block it.
DK has improved his route running too. He's lining up on the right side more. And like these little things Kevin's talking about, the only thing I want to see from DK is just clean up the drops a little bit. If he cleans up the drops, the sky's the limit for him.
Also, props to Russell for taking it. He shot like a man. As he throws that bomb,
I will say, this ball's underthrown, but his ball to Chris Carson was
That was a beautiful
beautiful rainbow that I'm pretty sure the skies parted and the Angels sang when Russell threw that ball. It was perfect, just absolutely perfect.
And I'm going to transition into Carson as my next one. We need to talk how Carson has actually grown as a back, because all of his touchdowns are receiving touchdowns this year. They're all receiving. Like, that was one thing, like, early on when we drafted him, that he wasn't. I mean, we got Rashad Penny to do that, so to speak, because Rashad Penny was known for doing pass catching out of the backfield. We had people like Procise at the time too, but literally Chris Carson has developed into that every down back, which is very nice to see. And it's all, but at the same time too, it's going to make up to where he wants more money, because he's that all just can do everything back.
This is the touchdown.
And I don't want to pay him the money, because you don't want to pay running back that, but like, he is actually showing that he is really good back. Like, it's going to be really iffy. Like I said, I think we could get another back. I think Rashad Penny could, if he stays healthy, could be the same thing. He's not as explosive at the tackle. He's more of a shifty guy. Even though, I mean, he's literally had a college, like a safety, like on his back, holding his jersey as he's run downfield at San Diego State. But it will just kind of, it depends on what Rashad Penny does when he gets back, on whether or not, and I have a feeling they're going to pay him too, just because Pete Carroll is paying him.
I mean, looking at the film, it looks like this cornerback overplays it, and then Carson is just wide open with no safety over the top. I mean, if you're going to play in coverage, you can't charge and then just let him go by you. I mean, that's just
the main
poor coverage right there.
And he
just goes by him, and then the safety
he's just
sucked
grabbing
in over here, and then it's gone. He's gone.
He's just grabbing.
Yeah.
See, the main thing is Bill Belichick tries to take away your best weapon and then says, beat me. But what do you do when Russell Wilson is your best weapon? And literally, they tried to take away DK. That was their main plan. And then Russell literally threw, like, as a lot of people have already mentioned, and you'll hear it in the media, like, most of the time, like in terms of Richard Sherman, Stephon Gilmore, most quarterbacks are going to throw away from that. They're going to throw on the other side of the field and avoid that. Russell Wilson didn't give one damn, and it was like, I'm throwing at you. And he won. Like, literally, he took the best secondary on, and he literally just ran all over him, or threw all over him. You know what I mean? But it was very impressive to see. And honestly, because he spread out the ball so much, because, like, they didn't know who to cover. Like, they tried to cover Tyler, DK. He got the touchdown. Then they're like, oh, well, technically, Tyler got it. And then they're like, maybe we should get Tyler. And then DK just.
The first quarter, Tyler ate him alive in the first 3 drives. And then they're like, we got to cover him. And then DK just went off. Like, it was just like they couldn't pick which one to cover, and because the other one would just go nuts.
And honestly, on the Swain touchdown and another catch that he got, I actually thought it was Lockett. Like, not. I mean, he's not the same as Lockett, but I've been impressed by Swain lately.
Even Rabel said Lockett on the broadcast. He said Tyler Lockett on the broadcast.
I mean,
you're not the only one, Kevin.
He picked up the forced fumble last week and then got that really sexy touchdown. And also heads up to David Moore to having that foot presence. Like, him feeling – I think he felt the pylon on the back of his foot, and then we're just like, oh, get it inside. Like, tuck that foot in.
I honestly was confused on that. I thought pylon counted as down. Does it not? I know he got his foot in anyway. I was confused on that ruling.
I'm pretty sure it does, but I think he was just doing it.
No, it doesn't count as, it counts as like end zone if you're diving. It is not a possession. You can't touch it with your foot and say you're down. You have to get both of your feet down. He had to get his other foot down. But it's so he touched it when he touched it with it, and everyone's like, he's out of bounds. That does not indicate he's out of bounds. He could touch the pylon on top, and he's not out of bounds yet.
Yeah. And then the fact that he got the foot in too.
Yeah,
it's just foot in. Yeah, was very impressive to say, because we've ragged on Moore before, and honestly, he's not. He's kind of like, he reminds me of like the next version of Curse. Like, he'll come up with a big play every now and then, but like, I don't want to pay him $9 million a year.
Oh God. Well, he's never gonna make $9 million.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
I think anybody's gonna pay him that.
I know, but I don't want to pay him like receiver, good receiver money to keep him. Like, I think we could move on and find another one, like Swain or Ursula, or
I mean, I know that Moore made a nice catch, but I mean, he's been very inefficient the last couple of years. I think, if anything,
it's too inconsistent.
It was a nice catch, but I would still like to see some more Swaim or somebody.
I'm just gonna show it for if you haven't seen it yet. Also, this is courtesy of NFL Game Pass. I like the coaches view a lot more than the broadcast
it's
view.
much better
nice.
than the broadcast view.
Oh, I gotta get Russell in this picture here. Let me move you guys to the side here. I gotta rewind it there because he takes a shot there. But I mean, one-on-one on the outside. Like I'm surprised he took the shot. I can't tell who that is. Who's covering him? It looks like 20. But in any case, I mean, he puts the ball right on the pylon, and then the foot presence. I'm gonna slow it down here to just get that foot in and then tap it down. I mean, that is quite a throw. It's the McCourty twin, one of the McCourty twins. Wow. But I mean, even better footwork there by David Moore. And you know what is also nice to see is David Moore is stepping up, and you haven't really seen Philip Dorsett. So I feel like David Moore has secured that wide receiver 3 job. I mean, what do you guys think?
Forset's been hurt. That's why he's not playing. He's been out for 2 weeks.
When he comes back, it's a choice now, though.
No, I think Dorsett.
No, I don't think it'll be Dorsett just because of the speed issue. He's a lot faster than Moore, so you have more threats. I'm interested to see it. Now, if you play Dorsett and he plays like crap, then I would go back to Moore or Swain or Josh Gordon when he comes back. Hopefully,
whatever the
please.
NFL's doing with that.
Yeah, please let Josh Gordon come back because I want this offense to go even more.
It's the guy that Lewis is blocking. Look who hit Russell Wilson. I've only watched for those of you. I've only watched a rewind of Game Pass. The first quarter, and Lewis is just being blown up the entire first quarter. I don't know if he blocked a single person. I mean, I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, but still, he was.
Yeah, he was known for his run blocking.
Is that a push off I see, or is that hand fighting? I don't know. Either way, it counts.
I see that as hand fighting.
Okay,
but,
it's a little both, but it's the NFL offense guy. Yeah. They never call unless it's like super egregious. They're never going to call that.
True. But I mean, either way, at least the biggest thing of running Russ Cook is to make sure you catch the ball. And outside of that one Greg Olsen off the hands interception, his wide receivers are doing well as well. I mean, outside of that one drop, there were only a couple.
DK had two or three at week 1, but other than that, yeah. Like and DK didn't drop any or didn't even bobble any this week. So and he made that very nice catch. So yeah, I mean, if they can hold on to it, Russell's going to put it there. And Russell's going to give him a shot. I want to shout out 2 people. I know I ragged on the defense, but KJ and Bobby have been great so far. They're making the tackles. They're not asked to cover people because we're playing nickel. And they're comfortable there. They're like, we can just cover running backs and do some tight ends, and they've been great, these 2. They're back to – everyone was talking about how they're done. Those 2 guys look great so far.
Well, even KJ had a pretty solid year, especially toward the end of the year last year. But then everybody kind of was like, oh, KJ slowing down and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, he wasn't the same as what he was in 2012, like speed-wise, but he's still like a solid linebacker. And I would rather have
But those two together, you could just pencil them in and you don't have to worry about it. Like that's the nice part.
The issue why they were so bad last year was because they were misusing them. Like, use base, use them what those linebackers are built for. I don't want to see Bobby running down the field covering a third wide receiver.
He's all about that base. No,
but I don't want to see that. And so it's like. He's not doing that, and Bobby's not getting beat deep, and so it's great. Like, and he's looking a lot better. So I want to shout out those 2 guys. Now the rest of the defense. Are we ready to move on? Because I got a lot to say.
Well, let's talk about the D line. I see it on the show document here. What do we do? ? I imagine this is a Kevin note. Is this a Kevin note in here?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my note.
I mean, what is your gripe with the D line? Go ahead and explain it to everybody.
The fact that literally, honestly, I was mentioning, I don't know if I put it on Twitter or if I was talking to a coworker, I can't even remember. But honestly, you can get a bunch of stray cats off the street and line them on the D line, and they probably would do better at getting up to the quarterback than what we have so far. Like, now I will say the run stoppage has improved. I mean, Cam Newton, I'll give it because Cam Newton, he's what 6'5", 230. That's
he's
really hard to
250.
stop.
Like you short him 20 pounds.
Yeah, like that's so hard to stop. Like, and it's just going to make you exhausted. But for the running back part, they did very well. I want to see what happens next week against Zeke. That's going to be their main challenge: is can you stop Zeke and Dak from running? But just the pressure. Even when they brought in like that last series, like Brooks was in there for a little bit. And then I thought I saw they had somebody else rushing too. I don't know if it was one of the corners, but like there was just zero pressure. Like I was just like I was screaming like get pressure for God's sake. Like and Cam's just standing back there. He ate a 6-inch Subway like sandwich because Bill Belichick's endorsing that now, and he literally ate the whole sandwich and then threw a pass. Like he had that much time. So it's like we got to do something because our second round pick out of Tennessee is probably not going to be back, and they're saying his recovery is having some trouble. So we might not even see him back till like halfway through the season. They for some reason don't want to put in Alton Robinson to see what he's got. I don't know why.
They said he's going to play. They said he's going to play this week.
Thank God. Like I liked his college tape. It's not that bad. Like his college tape is pretty solid. Like you don't have to put him in the run stop downs, but like as a third down like pass rusher, like give him a chance. Like he might have something there. Now, and that will also depend on how much snaps he gets with if Rashad Green comes back. And who else was out on that line? I forgot. There was somebody else that was out on the line.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I can't remember. I just know Rashad Green was out. But so a lot of people have been talking about, do you go get Clay Matthews? A lot of people have been talking about, do you go like ask about Terrell Suggs or the nose tackle that's still a free agent that has like the that snack name. I can't even remember his name.
Oh, yeah.
If the run continues an issue, I could see getting that nose tackle for cheap. That would be nice because that we do need to focus on stopping the run. But I don't know if Clay Matthews is really the answer, and I know a lot of Seahawks fans would just die. But at the same time, we gotta do something. Like we cannot continue to not have a pass rush because it literally, even though that secondary is great, like they can only do so much. Like if the quarterback has 8 seconds to do whatever the heck they want, it like stuff breaks down, as we've seen with Russell. Like you got to put pressure on him, and I don't know. There's just not little options out there. It's pretty much either do you want Clay Matthews or Terrell Suggs. Like
I just want to put the numbers out there. They had 1 sack in the game. That was Jamal Adams, and they had 5 quarterback hits. 2 of those were Jamal Adams, 1 from Bobby Wagner, 1 from Bruce Irvin, and 1 from DeMontre Moore. So
I would say go trade, but why do you have to trade now?
No.
Like you don't have anything to trade.
Okay. So I got to talk to Seahawks fans here for a second. I'm really tired of all the Seahawks fans who are like so against Clay Matthews because they don't like him because he took some cheap shots, but you're totally okay with signing someone who's been accused of domestic violence, but in Frank Clark, but you draw your line at I don't like somebody just simply based on that because of how they play football. With all of that said, I do not want Clay Matthews, but the whole like I don't feel in my heart that I don't like him, so then we can't sign him is just ridiculous. Clay Matthews doesn't need to play because he's old and bad. He was not good with the Rams. I don't need to see him. You drafted a bunch of guys. We have a bunch of young guys. Let them play and see what they are and see what they have. And then if you have to go get a Suggs or something like that, you can. But we do not need another Jerron Brown situation where we're not playing young kids that we drafted to go sign an old guy. You like these guys enough to draft them, Pete and John. Let them play. See what they are because what you have right now is not working. So let the other guys give it a shot because guess what? If it doesn't work, then it's already not working anyway. So you're not losing anything. So let them play in a couple weeks. If it's still not better, then we have to reassess this. But something does have to happen. So Matthew, for your thing, I saw a thing. When the Patriots were targeting the guys Jamal Adams were covering, they were 6 for 6 for 160 yards. He was not covering very well at all. Basically, what Jamal Adams has been asked to do is rush the passer. He's been a liability as a secondary back there. He's a great open field tackler, and he probably just had a terrible game. But he got picked on by Cam Newton. Like, he's not known for being accurate, and Cam Newton went after Jamal Adams in the passing game.
I don't think you can single out Jamal Adams. I'm not saying your point's not accurate, but you can't. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the only problem, but they were literally 100% for like over 10 yards, like going after him, like. So like Jamal Adams is not void of like everyone's like he's worth all the picks. I'm like he's getting kind of torched here too. Like now again, this is a communication thing. Losing 2 safeties, it's kind of like rotating doors here, but like the whole defense as a whole, I would say the linebackers Bruce Irvin, not so much, but like the other two linebackers had played very well. But the D line in the secondary has just been getting torched. They have the second most passing yards ever in the history of football through 2 games. I know it's about efficiency and not volume, but there was no garbage time in this game. This game was a game. So like you can't say like, oh, both games had garbage time. So they Matt Ryan at the first half was on pace to average already 380 yards. He got like 450, but it wasn't like he only got 70 more yards in garbage time. Like these yards they're just going down the field. So and the Falcons only lost because they kept going on 4th downs and got unlucky and didn't get a couple of them, or else that's a real game. So this defense has to start playing better against teams that like are a little better, like Kevin said, like the Cowboys, because if we don't get a lead, teams will be able to run on us. The Patriots were behind. They were like, they at the half it was tied, and then we started to get a lead, and then they had to abandon it and had to go to Cam Newton. Teams, if this game's closer, teams are ahead. I don't know if we're going to be able to catch up because they're just going to be able to run it on us. We don't only have 3 true tackles on the roster, and it's going to get scary with Kevin saying a Zeke and them could do some damage. And the Cowboys team, they did drop a 45 burger on the Falcons just yesterday, so you better watch out. People underestimate, especially Seahawks fans, too, underestimate how good Dak Prescott is.
Well, well, we can get into that a little bit later, but the Falcons gave that game away. Not to say that the Cowboys didn't come back and win it, but the Falcons gave it away.
Okay, so they still dropped 40 on them. Like, even without the onside kick they still dropped a ton of yards on this team. Like, they went up and down the field on the Falcons.
Well, so did the Seahawks. So, I mean, I don't really – what the Falcons' defense is bad. That's the point.
The Cowboys' defense is better than the Seahawks' defense. So, if it's a shootout and you've just now have a worse defense.
But I think as we established in the beginning of the season, the defense does not have to be great. They have to be good enough. And that's what they've been the first 2 games.
But that's
good enough.
That's what I'm saying. If both offenses are going to go up and down the field, back and forth, the Cowboys' defense might be more likely to get a stop right now than the Seahawks' defense.
I mean,
a great offense might not be enough against this team.
I mean, if the Falcons manage it better, we're not even talking about this.
We'll still talk about it.
If the Falcons dive on that onside kick and not watch it and let the guy grab it, we're not talking about this.
I don't care about the win-loss because of the win-loss.
But the win-loss is ultimately what matters.
Yes, but like it doesn't affect how the Cowboys themselves played other than the last drive. Like, so they got one more try and then drive. So that completely changed how the Cowboys look for you, like an onside, like traveling 40 yards.
I mean, the first half they weren't great at all.
It did, like you said, it doesn't matter until the end. Like they were torching them.
Fair. Yeah, fair. Let's touch on the injury here. So Bruce Irvin and Lano Hill, Blair, Marquise Blair, both are out with ACL injuries. So we're going to be bringing a couple guys in. I imagine they'll maybe bring in Shaquem Griffin again off the practice squad. I'm not really sure who they're going to have to come in and step up. I mean, Cody Barton is still there. They got Ben Burke-Irvin, so they have some guys who could fill that Bruce Irvin role. Maybe not as Bruce Irvin-y as Bruce Irvin, but they'll have someone to fill that role. Who do you see stepping up in those roles? And Ugo Amadi had 8 tackles last game, so not a terrible. I mean, the defense didn't have a great game, but solo game for Ugo Amadi, 8 tackles, not bad at all. 1 for a loss. So. Kevin, who do you see kind of stepping up in this defense with some of the injuries that have plagued the team?
I'm going to kind of quickly tangent to your Ugo to kind of go back to the D-line. The reason why you should let Alton Robinson and like the young kids play is like Ugo is a big example. Like Ugo came into this game and had a pretty solid game. Like was pretty decent on coverage. He had one kind of mess up where he got beat out by I think it was Edelman on the play. It might have been Nakeem. But overall, like he had a really solid game and like showed you with only having 2 games under his belt, playing in none of them as a starter, like that he's got really good elite speed, and that's why you should see what your young kids have. I think as we already mentioned, Alton Robinson will probably get a chance. Shaquem Griffin, because he is the linebacker, will probably get brought up. Will he be played? I think he'll probably be a healthy scratch, but he'll probably be brought up just because you have both Brooks and Barton, and yeah, so I think you're good there. As far as corners and like as DBs, you still have depth with Trey Flowers and Nico Thorpe. You're probably going to just have Ugo be starting nickel, um, most likely, and then you just bring back with Diggs coming back. You just that's the only substitution is that Ugo's going to be your nickel, and then you have Flowers and Thorpe as your backups in case one of those gets hurt. And hope to God that doesn't happen. They could bring up. Technically, they have able to bring up two if Blair goes on the injured list as well.
He'll
So,
I imagine they'll both go on the season-ending.
Yeah, so I would imagine they bring up Shaquem and then somebody else, possibly maybe another defensive line that they want to try, or a tackle. We'll see kind of what they do. I'm not too familiar with what's on the practice squad right now, and I don't have my phone on me, but I would imagine Shaquem would be one that they're going to bring up. Well, but I think he'll be a healthy scratch though.
Sean, what are your thoughts? Who's going to step up here?
I think it's going to be a combo of the two. I think Kevin's right. I don't like Griffin playing linebacker. I don't think he can, but he can rush the passer.
Yeah.
What they did with Bruce Irvin was they had him play linebacker and rush the passer. I want to see Brooks play linebacker things and then bring in Griffin on the pass rushing plays. Or, Robinson or whatever some of the kids are. Because I really liked what I saw out of Griffin last year when he was rushing the passer. So I think it should be a combo of the two. I don't want any one player playing Bruce Irvin's role. I don't really want Bruce Irvin playing that role. But I don't want one player playing that where he's like a linebacker, then on certain downs he rushes. I want them to have kind of do two people to fill that one position.
In some plays too, you could have Brooks, because Brooks did do pass rushing in college. So I would, just to make it to where it's not predictable, I would have Brooks do a couple pass rushes as well. But
yeah, but I'm just
yeah, as an overall
in general, that's what I would do. Yeah,
I agree.
And also, I know we've seen it once before, but can we please put to bed? We saw the highlight one too many times. Can we put to bed the whole we should have run it on the one thing in the Super Bowl? I'm just tired of hearing it. I'm tired of seeing that highlight. But, I mean, if Cam Newton can't get in the one, Marshawn Lynch is pretty beefy too, and, he might have gotten in. But can we just put to bed the whole we should have ran the ball thing? Because if you guys all trust in Russell Wilson right now, why didn't you trust him back then? That's all I got to say. It's like the play call's different, all right?
We're not getting in on the one if we run Marshawn. Just accept that. It's not happening.
Just don't put your 180-pound fifth-string receiver on the play.
Yeah.
Put a tight end or Chris Matthews in, and you probably win that game. Because they're not going to get blown up by a 5'10" corner. So,
let's talk a little bit about what is arguably the best division in football, the NFC West. Just to give a recap of the rest of the division this week, San Francisco at the Jets, 31-13. However, San Francisco is quite beat up after that game. They lost Jimmy G. They lost Raheem Mostert. They lost Bosa. They lost Solomon Thomas. Anyone else I'm forgetting?
They lost Coleman too.
Tevin Coleman. So
they're down two running backs, two linemen, quarterback.
I think they
already don't have
dog vendor.
Don't have Sherman. They have two receivers out already. They signed Sanu because they need a body to run routes out there.
Yeah, Kendrick Bourne's hurt. So, I mean, San Francisco, good team, but quite banged up. Los Angeles Rams at Philly. That was a 10 a.m. game, 37-19 Rams. My prediction was Rams finishing last, and I'm a little nervous about that, and it's 2 games. But, I mean, the Rams' defense looks quite good. Now, Carson Wentz was not good. Let's just put that out there right away. But they're also banged up on offense. But that defense of the Rams looks very good. And the offense was doing well. Cooper Kupp, Go Eastern Washington, was playing well as well. And then Washington Football Club at Arizona, 30-15. Kyler Murray looked good once again. What do you guys think of the division? Sean, what do you think?
The 49ers are so beat up right now. Unfortunately, their early season schedule is like playing a bunch of JV teams. They play the Saquon Barkley-less Giants next week, so if they're going to get hurt, now's the time, I guess. So that's kind of the frustrating part. I don't think it'll hurt the 49ers because I think they'll be healthy by the time they really have some difficult games. But the injuries are piling up for the 49ers. It's undeniable. And there's Seahawks fans that are going to say no excuses, but at a certain point, it starts to become an issue. Any team's going to have an issue. When you lose 2 receivers, 2 running backs, half of your D-line, and a quarterback, that's nothing to like – that's not a, oh, well, any team should be able to recover from that. No, there's no team in the NFL who recovers from that. So we'll see how quickly these guys get back to see how good the 49ers can be this year. Or, Matthew, your prediction of them not doing so well, you might have lucked into that one where the entire 49ers ends up on the IR.
I don't know about lucked when you play the Jets and the Cardinals your first game, 1-1. That sounds about right. Anyway, go ahead.
Do you know how many ACLs exploded for the 49ers that game? Anyways, but
you know how many ACLs exploded in general? I mean, a lot.
That's true.
So,
they're going to find out. They're going to have a cakewalk next week with no Barkley. And then the Rams look good, man. The Eagles try to make it close, but I don't know if it was really as close as that. And same with the Washington Football Club. I don't know if you could have got negative points, but I think they deserve negative points in the first half, and Arizona just kind of crushed them and then just stopped playing football after a while. Like, the NFC West is by far the best team in the division in football. I mean, I don't think there's even a debate that it's close.
Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, Niners exploding. Honestly, and like, there's so many 12 fans that were excited. I'd rather have them at full strength and then beat them at full strength, because then they have nothing to give excuses about. So, and honestly, and me and Sean have talked about this too. Like, especially after that game, how's Adam Gase still a coach there? Like, literally half their team died and they couldn't do anything.
They did absolutely nothing.
Like, how is Adam Gase still the coach of the Jets? Like, holy crap.
They ran out their backup quarterback after halftime when they were only up by like 13. They're like, we don't respect you enough to play a starter.
Trying to gift you the one win of the season, and you're like, nope, field goals. Like, what? Oh my gosh. The Hopkins to Nuke connection is for real, and it's
thanks, Bill O'Brien.
Scary. It's real scary. Yeah, thank you, Bill O'Brien. God. It's scary. And also too, like, toward the end, like the whole running like touchdown that he had, like, I even texted Sean, I'm like, has it begun? And it's like, it kind of looks like it's starting to. Like,
it is. They did play Washington, so let's take a breath.
Yeah,
like,
but Washington has a good defensive line. They just can't get
Kyler. That's what Kevin said. They are still trash. They're still trash.
They still have a good defensive line. You're chasing
Says who?
Look at that defensive line. Kerrigan, Young. Like,
Kerrigan, what is he, like 40?
So?
Chase Young's played a game and a half, and he just got dumped on by Kyler Murray. Like,
Frank Gore's 37, and he got like 25 carries for the Jets. Now, is that Adam Gase?
Yeah, did he get 26 yards? What did he get?
Probably. He got at least 26 yards, I think.
They didn't have anybody in the D-line, and they still only got 26 yards.
To be honest, even like most good D-lines, like even the 49ers are going to have trouble catching that man.
Yeah, but like,
it's just hard.
We don't know what Washington is yet, but they are not good.
Yeah, it's true. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if they continue to have design run plays for him or just let him. It really looks like they just have given him the not full reins, but they're being more less restrictive than what the Seahawks were on Russell. They're letting Kyler use his creativity to make plays for them, and it's working so far. I mean, they're 2-0, and they beat the 49ers even before they did have some injuries, but not as many as what the Jets faced. So the Cardinals, Matt's prediction could be real. Honestly, it's going to be interesting when we play them. I think it's going to be a fun game. The Rams, that offense looks like it's for real again. They just have to pretty much stay healthy. Or people need to figure out how to get after that super old line, and the Hawks aren't going to do it because we still don't have anything to. So it doesn't matter.
They won't play base though, at least, Kevin. Maybe they'll play a nickel. They might play nickel this time.
Oh my gosh.
They'll actually have Ugo cover Cup, maybe not Bobby Wagner.
Maybe if we go get our D line out of an old folks' home, we might be able to have a chance. But because honestly, we might as well. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Ben Jefferson,
Tyler Higbee.
Tyler Higbee. Cam Akers is injured, and he looks kind of like he struggled. But Malcolm Brown actually has been very impressive as their other back.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Darrell Henderson had 2 touchdowns.
Darrell Henderson is what I'm thinking of. But Like overall, it's clicking. The Sean McVay thing is back. Hopefully, and honestly, it looks scary
Do
for
they
us.
play the Patriots? They do. So then Bill
Yeah,
Belichick will show everyone how to beat it again real quick in the middle of
yeah.
the season.
Hopefully, that's before we play them. I don't know where that is
Play
down
them
the
once at the
line.
end of the year. So either way, we'll get them. We'll get
Yeah.
after the Patriots expose them.
So hopefully, we'll
I
get like one win out of
I
it.
just want to mention two surprising results before we move on to looking at next week. I thought that just today the Raiders taken to the Saints, and you guys were both high on the Saints. Now, granted, week 2, let's not overreact, but I was surprised to see the Raiders hold off the Saints. Maybe it was the Vegas opener. Maybe Drew Brees was at the craps table the night before. I don't know, but I mean, that was quite an interesting game to see the Raiders come from behind and win that game. And also, man, I did not think the Vikings offense was going to be this bad, but it looks like Kirk Cousins has reverted to old Kirk Cousins in Washington, where he just cannot seem to do anything correct, and that offense is suffering for it. So I thought those were two surprising results. And I'm sorry Gardner Minshew couldn't get it done against the Titans. So close, so close. But Ryan Tannehill looks better than I thought, so I will at least give him that. But let's move on to next week's game. The Cowboys are going to travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks at 1:25 p.m. 1-1. We know what happened last week, and the Falcons are probably seeing shades of 28-3 right now. That was not a good game at all. But the Cowboys are going to come into town 1-1. Last time we played them was 24-22 on January 5th, 2019, which is the NFC wildcard game. So, and then before that, the 24-13 loss in 2018 during the regular season. Why did 24-22 win for the Cowboys. Why is it reading it in a different way? But anyway, those are the last couple meetings. So, guys, what do you see in this matchup? We already talked about kind of Zeke and how he might run all over the line, but I mean, what do you think of the Seahawks offense against this defense? Kevin, what do you think?
I think it's going to be a shootout because that their secondary is not as nearly as good as what it was last year. That front four is pretty decent, and their linebackers are pretty good. But I think Russell, it kind of just proved that he's going to dunk on everybody, and it doesn't matter what you do unless you like really get after him on the pass. Like you kind of, and they kind of even mentioned during the Sunday Night Football game, like you need to send athletic, you need to bring your Jamal Adams type player and send it after Russell to where like Russell can't escape. You're like, sure. But even then, like he was still making plays. Like Russell's just doing godly things. So I think Russell's not going to really have a problem other than maybe like pass rush. I think Russell's going to get sacked probably 3+ times. I mean, he's going to be under pressure a lot, but you see what he does under pressure. I mean, he's what I think 5 of his touchdowns have been under pressure, like on the move. So honestly, it doesn't really matter. Um, it's going to be about the other side of the ball with their offense and our defense because I think they're going to poop on us. To be honest, like even with Jamal Adams setups, it's still a pretty decent O line. Zeke's a good blocker. Zeke's a good runner and a catcher of the football. You have Gallup, freaking Amari Cooper, and CD Lamb. Like that's like murderer's row of freaking like receivers. like, uh, honestly, we could probably see this game. This might be the Saints Niners game of last year, where like each team's just dropping 50. Like it might be like a 54, like 49, like type of game. Like honestly, and it might just come down to who gets the ball last. That's kind of what I see this as. Just because our O line's kind of held up for the most part and has like made good transitions to kind of give Russ time, and plus Russ just scrambles. So even though, like I said, I think they'll get 3+ sacks on him, I think they're still going to drop a lot of points on him. But yeah, it's going to be a very high scoring game.
I just want to go back. It was the last time they met was in the NFC Wild Card. I'm actually reading this correctly. It was the 24-22 win in Dallas, and then the last regular season meeting was in Seattle with the Seahawks winning 24-13 in 2018. Sean, what do you see in this matchup?
I think Kevin says high scoring. I think on paper it should be. I think the issue is the Dallas fans and everything like that are not happy with Mike McCarthy. He was supposedly very analytics driven, and everything he's been doing is not. I think it's the same thing we had with Pete Carroll. I think Mike McCarthy will continue to hold the Cowboys back. So I think they won't score as many points as possible, because once they let go in the second half, that is basically letting Dak cook, and they could not be stopped. They just could not anymore. And if they did, I think we lose. If they just let Dak cook, I think they're a more complete team right now. With that said, I don't think they will, and so I think we will win because of that. Like I said, though, Kevin, Aldon Smith, Everson Griffin, DeMarcus Lawrence, those three are going to tear apart this offensive line. So Russell's going to run for his life. But if we let Russ cook, which we have been, we should win this game. Because, again, I think other teams and other things, Dak Prescott was the most efficient quarterback in football last year. Even more efficient than Russell. If he's given a chance to throw and let him cook, he can be amazing. But they will not. I don't know why Jerry Jones hates his quarterback and puts him on franchise tags and all this other BS.
With that receiving core, God.
Yeah, you just need to pay Dak. That receiving core might be the most nuts thing in the NFL. But if they're going to continue to middle around and make bad decisions and kick field goals and not go for it, I think we'll beat them because of, which is gonna, it might kill me inside, but we might out-coach them. I can't believe I'm saying that in 2020, but 2020 has been a weird year. I did not think I was gonna ever say that at Pete Carroll, but we might out-coach them this time.
I mean, looking at the sample size we have of both teams and both games against a common opponent, I don't see any way this isn't a high-scoring game. If I'm picking an over-under, it's going to be at least 70. I'm more in the 75 to 80 range, I would think. But It'll see
what happened with the Falcons. We'll get up early. They'll come back.
And, we did the same thing against the Falcons. We got up and they garbage timed it, and granted they didn't actually come back, but they tried.
Maybe a little less than garbage time, but yeah, I think we'll win we'll be a little comfortable in this one.
I am mostly worried about Zeke in the running game. Like you guys mentioned, we just can't seem to stop the run. Cam ran all over us. Even Todd Gurley, who didn't have a good game against the Cowboys, was able to run a pretty good game against us. So I don't see us stopping the run at all. And Zeke, if you just feed him, I see him having a pretty big game.
If we get a lead, they won't run anymore.
I mean, they'll still go to Zeke, and he can catch out of the backfield, so he'll still get his. I don't see any way he doesn't get his in this game.
They don't do that, though. I don't know. You should talk to Mike McCarthy about that.
They might throw a screen or two or have him roll out of the backfield on a little wheel route, but Zeke will be just fine. And it's really going to come down to that Cowboys defense. And like you mentioned, they have a good front four. It's just will Russ have enough time? And I think Pete is going to take this into account and kind of get Russ on the move. I would like to see a little bit more play action to kind of get him outside of the pocket and let him throw a little bit more. And, Chris Carson he's going to have, his touches, but, man, it's going to be hard to run through that front four. And then once they get to the second level, I think the linebackers are just going to clamp down. So it's going to be tough to run the ball, and it's going to be a lot of Russ throwing, which is what we want anyway. And I think they're going to know that's coming. It's just going to be a matter of if they're going to give him some zone looks and he's just going to pick it apart, or if he's going to try and single out some man-on-man matchups and maybe, huck it deep to DK or Tyler Lockett. So we'll see how it goes. I think the tight ends are going to be utilized a lot more than they were in this last game. Will Dissly had one catch, and Greg Olsen, after the tip ball pick, didn't see another target. So I think you're going to see a lot more tight end action in this game. I think you're going to see more Will Dissly. I think you're going to see more Greg Olsen. And I think you're going to see a little bit more Carlos Hyde as well. I think you're going to see a little bit more, maybe a couple screens to him, maybe get him a little bit more involved, because I think they're going to try and key in on Carson more than anyone else. Sean, I see your dog in the background with a cone. That's very sad.
She made an appearance. I just got rid of her.
But I think you're going to see more tight end play here, and I think you're going to see Russ looking for him, because they're going to probably have a smaller cornerback on a big Will Dissly or a big Greg Olsen. So with that, hey, Mila. So with that, let's get some predictions in here. Gentlemen, I'm going to throw it to Sean first. Sean, what is your prediction for this game?
35-30. I think they're going to score with a minute left to make it the one-score game. So it's not going to be crazy close, kind of like the Saints have scored their Saints Vegas game. So yeah, I say we win and they do not get the onside kick.
All right.
Someone actually grabs the ball.
Oh, that'd be nice. What was your score again?
35-30.
35-30. Oh, wow, we just saw that. Okay, Kevin, what about you?
Wait. Did we just saw? No,
we just saw that in the game of the Patriots and the Seahawks.
Score. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Can I change it then? We'll do 32. We'll do 32. No, 32-25. There we go.
All right.
I can't say the same score.
God, you're drunk. Jeez. No,
I had no idea. They just put up I had a toddler, 11-month-old, freaking out the entire second half. Okay, I didn't see much of the second half. He decided that was the appropriate time to throw a giant tantrum.
Gotcha.
As it was, I think, with how they were playing and how the game.
I wasn't super nervous when you guys were talking about it because he was literally screaming in my face. So yeah.
Because he wanted Russ to throw 8 touchdowns.
He did. He did.
Not. God.
Yeah. Kevin, what is your prediction?
See, the reason why I think their O-line is going to expose our D-line on the run game. I think we got lucky this past week on the run game from running backs because the running backs aren't as good. I don't think Sonny Michel's that good. I don't think Burkhead's that good. I think if they had James White, it'd probably be a little bit different. Not like night and day difference, but I think they would have had a little bit easier time running the ball and the scheme a little bit better on play action. It would have been more dangerous because James White is a good threat. Especially in the passing game too. And that's why I think they're going to stall drives and keep up. I think it's going to be a similar halftime where we're going to see a 14-14 just because they're going to drive the ball. I think that O-line is going to make that D-line just look terrible on blocking, and Zeke's going to keep punching it for 6 yards a punch, or even Dak too. So that's why I don't see them getting to a early lead, because even though Russell throws quick touchdowns, if they can do a 9-minute drive where they just answer back and keep it close up to the halftime, we don't force them into that bubble of being able to only throw it, so to speak, unless we get another crazy turnover, so to speak. That's what's going to be the main key that we've had in back-to-back times is those turnovers to where we can get a lead. If that happens, I could see the Seahawks getting one, but I'm actually going to predict that Dallas takes this one. I'm going to say it's going to be very close, but high scoring. I'm going to say 38-35 by a field goal.
All right. And Kevin, I'm going to agree with you, actually. In the preview episode, in those first 4 games, I said it was a 3-1, and they play Miami next week. And, 10 a.m. game in Miami, not entirely confident, but I think they're going to win that one. And I think this is the one they drop in that first 4-game slate. I think the Cowboys have just a little bit more offense than the Seahawks, and that defense will hold in the end. I think it's going to be very high scoring as well. I'm going to go a little bit more because I already said I would say 75-80 is the over-under. So I'm going to take 45-40 for the Cowboys in this game.
There's just no defense. There's zero defense play.
Okay, looking at the last game, there wasn't much defense from them, and
we haven't played any defense. I'm not.
They lost. They lost to the Rams 20-17, which was a little bit different than the amount of points that the Falcons put up. But the Falcons have a better offense than the Rams. I don't think that's any question, honestly. So,
honestly, it could be. I agree with Matt. It could be that because Russell Wilson dropped 35 points on what is considered the best secondary in the league. Now you're going to a less good secondary. He could drop more. It is possible. And they only let Russ throw 28 times, which is they were a very balanced attack. If they lean that a little bit more toward Russ, which they should, Pete. Sorry. It could be. I think it's going to come down to whoever gets the ball last. To be honest, that's going to be my main thing that I'm going to kind of mark as my hot take. Core is going to be who gets the ball last within Now, if the Seahawks get the ball back with 20 seconds on the clock, not talking like that, with it, whoever has the ball with a 2-minute warning, I think is going to take it. I think it's just going to be back and forth. Everybody's just going to score on pretty much every freaking drive, and So
Look, I said they're going to be 3-1 the first 4 games. I thought they were going to lose to the Patriots before the season started, but they let Russ cook, so we're going undefeated. I don't want to hear any of this negativity. And
now I will take a win.
Matthew.
I want them to win. Personally.
The Rams have the 3rd best offense, and the Falcons have the 12th best offense.
I don't care what those numbers say.
Okay, well, I'm
care.
just telling you. You just said
I
the
don't care.
best, and that's just what it says.
If you're gonna give me,
It says you're a liar.
if you're, I don't. That's great. Are you gonna offer me Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Russell Gage, Hayden Hurst, and Gurley over Goff? Who's the starter? I don't know. Tell me who the starting running back is.
Robert.
Pick a running back.
It's Akers or
Pick a running back.
You don't get
Cam
them.
Akers.
Pick a
You
running
get
back.
them and Quinn or Sean McVay and the Rams.
No,
is what
I'm not
you are
taking the
forgetting
coaches.
right now.
I'm not taking the coaches.
No,
I'm
you
taking
get
the personnel.
coaches is the problem.
I'm taking the
Yeah,
personnel.
that's true.
I'm taking the
No,
personnel.
I agree with you personnel, but you also get the coaches, and that's the difference in that.
Okay, well,
Sean
Take
McVay makes
two.
Jared Goff look better than Matt Ryan. That's what you have to understand.
fair. But I'm still taking the skill positions over the coaches. I'm leaving them out of this argument. Okay.
Yes. Well, okay. If you removed like everything about what makes the position, then yes, like absolutely, skill wise, the Falcons are better, but offensive wise, they are not because Sean McVay's better than Quinn.
For now. Until they replace Quinn, which I think that will. I don't see how that's not happening this year.
I'm legitimately surprised he hasn't been fired, and it's Monday. I don't know how has not been fired.
That's true. So
I'm guessing the firepower that he's probably been like, well, I dropped 40 points like every week, so I'll clean the defensive side, even though that's my thing. I'm just gonna pray to God that Pete tells me what to do because I was a protege of Pete, and I've been following Pete's thing to a T, and then it's failed because it failed with Pete.
If they fire Quinn, I'm going to slap every Seahawks fan online who says we should need to hire Quinn as our defensive coordinator.
Oh my God!
Stop
yes.
saying that. I don't want him back.
all right.
The LOB is not coming back.
So we talked about the Rams and McVay. They're going to get their first true test this week when they go to Buffalo, and Buffalo's winning that game. I'm telling you right now, Buffalo's going to win that game.
They might, but like let's
No,
be
they're
honest.
winning that game.
Buffalo's played the Jets and the Dolphins. So settle down.
Buffalo's winning that game. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, they might.
They're
They
winning.
might.
And they lost, and Byron Jones went out, I think halfway during that game. So their best corner also went out for the Dolphins. So that's
The Bills. If the corner
Bills are
for
good.
Miami makes the pick, the Bills lose to Miami last week.
The main thing is
and the
too,
Patriots
like, if
barely beat the Dolphins as well. So I mean,
I'm just saying, like, well, no, game was kind of further than the score indicated, but yeah.
Who's the main money DB for the Rams again? I forgot his name. The drama boy.
Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey's going to be on Diggs all day.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the true test. Like with
He doesn't
Diggs
need
shut
Diggs.
down,
he'll
If
get
Diggs
Beasley
shut
involved. He'll
down-
get John Brown involved. He
and
can
you
run.
have
Can
there's this guy named Aaron Donald that likes to eat you for breakfast.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen
Matthew-
against that super old O line. Like, or I mean, well, I'm sorry, I'm thinking the Rams, but even the Bills O line's kind of like it's good, but like Aaron Donald just takes over.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know what the Bills are yet because if you don't think the Rams have had a test, the Bills have played literally JV teams right now. They play the Jets and the Dolphins.
Like Aaron Donald's going to have a day. Like that's what they
Like,
need to worry about. Like Aaron
I think we're
Donald's
going to
just
figure
be
out
after that
about
ass.
both teams this week.
I
Both
want to
teams
see Josh Allen just let Aaron Donald through and try and pull the replacements where he throws it off his head. Remember that scene?
Aaron Donald kills him. Dude, your goal is not to let Aaron Donald through. Yeah. This is not a movie.
I just want to see what happens. I just want to see what happens.
If Keanu Reeves dies in that situation, he lets him through. Aaron Donald kills Keanu Reeves.
Fair.
God.
Fair. Or what's that? That is the movie I'm thinking of. Okay. And then San Francisco at the Giants. I mean, Daniel Jones could pull a miracle, and I mean, would it be much of a miracle with how banged up they are? I don't know.
Who's the old?
I don't know.
Who's the old? Freeman. Freeman is taking a visit now to the Giants to be their running back because they don't have anybody.
But here's the thing too. They have their best corner right now with Sherman out is an undrafted rookie. Like that's what I'm like. Throw on them. Like you're gonna have limited like their.
I think they will without no Saquon Barkley.
That's what they should. That's what they should do. Like let Daniel Jones
They're already one-dimensional now, and they still have.
I mean,
options on
Deion
the
Lewis ain't bad. Or no,
But
wait,
no, but, like,
yeah, Deion Lewis was their back.
The 49ers still are a good defense, even losing those two guys. Like, you
Yeah.
just can't be like,
yeah.
we're one-dimensional now.
Oh
and you're
no, like
you're gonna die.
they still need to be worried about that front seven. It's still decent. Like it's not as dominant, but it's still going to be good. But you need to expose that because that secondary is in shambles. Like let Daniel Jones throw, let Golden Tate. I know Sterling Shepard's kind of hurt, but let Golden Tate and Ingram just have a day. Like throw the ball is what
they
I would
are.
And then the final division team is Arizona, and they are hosting the Lions. So I think we're going to see a lot more Kyler Murray just torch another defense. Detroit has not looked very good in their first couple of games, so I think it's going to be.
I was like, man, Detroit, look at them. They were up by 2 touchdowns, and as soon as I tweeted it out, I don't think they scored another point. I think that Green Bay just went on a 28 unanswered
and you
points.
forget
like,
the choke they had against the Bears in Week 1. I mean, it's Matt Patricia's probably going to be looking for another job.
They said they're confident.
Soon.
Oh, God, Swift, man, if you make that catch, like tough debut for a rookie.
When is Golladay coming back for them? Like
I don't know.
That's a great question because he's on my fantasy bench and it's getting kind of frustrating.
Yeah. So he's killing me right now.
Because I think that like once Golladay comes back, I think that offense becomes a little bit more dynamic because it frees up Marvin Jones Jr. and Swift, and also the tight end Hawkinson, who is a very good tight end. I think they need that number one guy, and I think they'll be a little bit more explosive with that. But yeah, I still.
I mean, they're a catch away from beating the Bears, and the Packers are good. Like they just got beat by a better team in Lambeau. Like it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to be a murder. I think they're still going to score points. I could see for that game, I'll see like 26 to like 18. Like I think Detroit's going to get like 2 touchdowns and like 2 field goals, but the Cardinals will still pass them and just do naughty things on them because Nuke is just nuts.
Someone's got to cover him. Like he has more catches in his first 2 games with them than he ever had in a 2-game stretch. Like.
And then the scary thing is you have Larry though, and
he scored last week, and like no one covered him on the goal line. He just like ran past the corner. He's like, all right, and just let him go, and then he just stood in the back of the end zone. And then Kyler hit him with the ball.
Also, their other receiver,
Christian Kirk.
No, the other one, that's kind of like a sophomore. He's from like New Mexico. He's from Arizona or New Mexico. I can't remember the name. He caught a pat, but he was lightning quick. I thought it was Christian Kirk at first, but it was their other guy.
Oh, like Andy Isabella?
Isabella. That's it.
He's the sprinter, yeah.
Yeah, like that dude's got wheels.
Oh no,
Holy
he was
crap.
like there was a guy in the draft this year who was like known for speed, and Andy Isabella actually beat him in their high school in the 100, and everyone's like, well, if he's fast, I beat him in the 100.
It was like a 40 or 50-yard catch, and that dude just beat the crap out of that corner.
I liked his combine. I liked his combine. I really did, actually.
Like,
I think I even drafted him in a league, which was really dumb, but I just really like Andy. It was last year. Yeah, I really like him.
That if they start utilizing him really well, like, oh my god. Whew.
Well, we're winding down here on Washington East to West Sports. Let us know what you think. Tweet at us. Leave some comments. Let us know what you think. And I just want to touch on one thing. If they let Russ cook. I have the Dallas defense on my fantasy team. They gave me -3 points, and I think I'm going to be in dead last in this league here by the end of
you're
tomorrow.
last in our league?
Oh man, my team. I'm
going to be in first.
I took out Baker. I took out Baker, put in Teddy Bridgewater. That didn't work out. I had Julio Jones, who can't catch touchdowns for some reason.
No,
he's allergic to them, I think. And then the Dallas defense just can't do anything. So, all my players on.
You want to trade for Christian McCaffrey? That's who I have.
Yeah, he's healthy, so I think I'll take him. That sounds good.
Godwin, who's hurt. Yeah, like I'm doing great. Oh, like Kevin Akers, he's hurt. Like, yeah, I'm in first place, but I think I'm joining you at the bottom here very soon, Matthew.
Well,
my team's dead.
I mean, that's the thing. I only had no guys get injured, so maybe it's looking up for me. I don't know. I have Paris Campbell.
You just avoided the apocalypse of everybody getting hurt, and then you're the only one that's healthy.
Julio Jones is still healthy. I've got Mike Evans. He's apparently friends with Brady now. So, and T.Y. Hilton. Hopefully, will show up someday. So that'll be nice.
I have the Hopkins Murray train. So if they want to keep throwing passes to each other, like that's great. Hopkins could throw it to Murray, I guess, in this situation.
By the way,
anybody.
Is your wife doing okay after Aaron Jones just ran all over her?
Yeah,
doing okay?
she was pretty pissed at you. Like Aaron Jones went for like almost 50 points.
What?
That's
Yeah,
true. I
The
had him in
Lions
another
forgot he
league.
existed.
In my $100 league, I had him and held off someone we know, Cole Snyder, for the win.
To be
Sean,
fair, she kind of made up some of that point difference with Russell Wilson going just nutty. So
it's true.
But
It's true.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm gonna be on the waiver wire because it's gonna be a fun Tuesday on the waiver wire. Let me tell you, everybody. So let us know how your fantasy teams are doing. Let us know how many injuries you got, and then reach out to us. Let us know about our Seahawks takes. If you think they're terrible, if you think mine are the best, which they are, you can go ahead and tell me that. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean, what's the Twitter handle?
I am at Sean_Beatty.
Kevin, what's the Twitter handle?
at the Naughty Farmer.
All right, so tweet at us, tell us your thoughts. We're all probably going to be watching the Seahawks game at home, I'm guessing. Is that where you guys watch your games now? I mean, there's no bars
Well, where
to
else
go
can we
to.
go?
I
Like,
mean, yeah, I guess so. I mean,
I
you can have like a
watch
projection
mine
outside or something.
in a forest by myself.
Yeah.
I go
Kevin
out
just
into the
Wow.
meditates. Yeah.
I go out in the forest with some Wi-Fi and I bring some chai tea and I just watch the game.
You just like sip on it, like, great play.
And I put the little.
We're gonna
finger
let
out.
Russ
You gotta have a little
cook
finger.
16-0.
Our,
Undefeated.
And
I
then
don't
like
know.
all the
No,
forest
no.
animals eventually come because they want to watch the game.
Wow.
We just watch the game in harmony, so to speak. I'm kind of like Dr. Doolittle, but only
Kevin,
the
you
Seahawks
already
game.
said you told your wife to get out last week.
She tried to come in the forest, and I was like, "Get out of the forest!"
Oh my
I'm like,
god.
it's just us and the animals. That's it.
You can't. You can't, Kevin. You're gonna be single. I don't know what was worse, Kevin yelling at his wife or my child screaming directly into my face when the last play was happening. I don't know.
Well,
There's screaming involved in both. Like, so I don't know. Like,
I didn't yell. I just was like,
no, you yelled.
I think
GTFO.
what Nolan was trying to tell you, Sean, is that LJ Collier needs to make a play, and he did. He did.
No one until that play might have been better at rushing the passer than Collier. So I mean, maybe he's only
Honestly-
11 months, so he's 20.
Yeah, I
pounds.
was about to say, why
Out there.
don't we sign him? Because honestly,
I don't know.
he will probably get at least 2 sacks, which is better than what we're going to do over the
He's
next
not.
6 games
He
without
could
him.
be called Snacks. He likes snacks. He hates spaghetti though. So
Ooh.
Yeah.
You have to fix that.
We can work into that. We can try other types of
Maybe mac
noodles,
and
like
cheese or something.
linguine or,
Mac
Yeah.
and cheese.
or some
That's an
penne
easy one.
or
Yeah.
just take him to Olive Garden. He'll eventually learn to
we're
love
not
it.
starting.
There you
this.
go.
We're not starting this.
There you go.
We're not
Yeah.
starting
All
this,
right.
Kevin.
Well, that is all we got on watching East to West Sports. Again, let us know what you think. We'll all be watching the game on Sunday. And, gentlemen, thanks for joining me once again, and we'll see you next time on watching East to West Sports.
Sweet.